Hey everybody, I'm Diane Gale and I am the author of the blog sustainableslowliving.com, and today you and I are going to make garlic parmesan chicken tenders together. This is one of my favorite things to make. I make it often. As always, I am trying to put together measurements to have them for you for the recipe over on the blog. So I have decided about how much of everything I use, and we're going to give it a shot and see how it tastes in the end, and we'll adjust from there. But I think I've got it pretty right. Garlic Parmesan chicken tenders are loved by people of all ages. They're just, they take a little bit of time to make, but not an exorbitant amount of time, and they are exponentially better than the chicken tenders that you can pick up, at the store. You get them in the frozen food section, or they're selling them in gas stations all over the place, or usually when you go to a restaurant, it's just frozen breaded chicken fingers. These are so much better. They are worth the effort, and I am certain they are better for you. I don't know what's in all of the breading that is in those frozen chicken fingers, but generally processed food like that is not as good for you as food that you make yourself with wholesome ingredients. So I'm going to teach you how to put these together today, and once you make them this way, you're never going to want to eat those processed frozen tenders that you're getting everywhere else right now. So the first thing that we're going to do to make these tenders is we're going to make 3 dredging stations. So I have 3 eggs here, and I am going to pour them into this bowl, and I'm going to throw in a full teaspoon of salt. Yes, a full teaspoon of salt. Remember that some of this is going to be left behind. This is not all going to end up in your recipe. And a full teaspoon of ground black pepper. And then I'm just going to scramble that all together. That'll be our first dredging station. And then for our second dredging station, we're going to take a cup of all-purpose white flour, and we're going to take 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, and we're going to stir those together. Now I have small plates here, and the reason that I did that is for the pictures for the blog. It's much harder to get pictures of large plates. You can go ahead and you can just make your dredging station on a large plate, so you'll be able to put all of your flour right on your plate. You won't have to mess around with what I am going to have to mess around with today, which is getting some of this flour on the plate to dredge, and then putting some back in this bowl to add to it later as needed. And then our last dredging station is going to be made with 1½ cups of plain breadcrumbs, and I have 2 tablespoons of dried parsley here. I'm going to mix that together and do the same thing that I did with the flour. I'll have a little bit here on a plate for a dredging station, and then I'll have the rest on the side to add to it later. And again, that's just about the pictures for the blog. Sometimes I have to be mindful of that because I do the pictures in the video all at once most of the time. So I also have about a pound of chicken breast that I have sliced into tenders. Just, the size, nice size of a tender. You don't want them too thick because you don't want them to take very long in the oil to cook, because you don't want the outside to get too dark. You can also buy chicken tenders that are already pre-cut in the store. They are a better cut of meat. They are a little bit more expensive. It's great if you want to do that. I just don't find it necessary to do. And this is going to be a little difficult for me to show you how I actually do this, because our counter is here and our stove is over there. If you can see that pot, I have heated the oil beyond the smoke point, which is bad. But I did take it off the heat and open some windows here. Sometimes when I'm filming I get distracted. I was talking to you and I kind of messed that up. But anyway, usually I go ahead and I run these through the dredging station and I put them right in the oil. And you have to kind of work quickly. You have your dredging station going and you have your oil going all at the same time, and you're also taking chicken fingers out of the oil. So, you know, there's a little bit of speed to it, but for the purpose of showing you, I'm going to try and just show you a couple steps, and then I'll fry the rest of them up off camera. I use my fingers. You can use tongs if you want to try to use tongs to do this. I find that it's very difficult to do. You can put gloves on if you prefer to have gloves because you don't like the sticky nastiness on your fingers. I'm a cook who uses her fingers, so we're just going to dive right in. You're going to take your chicken finger and you're going to run it through your egg mixture, and then you will move it over to your flour. Coat it well in the flour. And then you're going to take it back to your egg mixture, run it through quickly, and then to your breadcrumbs. And you want to coat it pretty well, and your breadcrumbs as well. And normally you would take this and you would drop it directly into your oil so that you don't lose any of the coating. But like I said, for the purposes of this video, so I can show you, we're going to do a few of these together, probably about 3. And I'm going to break the rules a little and set those down on a plate until we can move the camera over to the stove. Okay, you guys, here we go. I have this oil nice and hot. You want to keep your oil nice and hot, but you definitely don't want it at the smoke point. And you saw what happened before when I did that. And then you're going to take your chicken fingers and you're just going to drop them right in. I have maybe 1.5 inches, maybe a little bit more of oil in this pan. It's my cast iron Dutch oven. That should work really well. It should be just enough. We'll let these cook up a little bit and then we'll flip them over. These look like they're just about ready to flip. They could maybe take a little longer. Yeah, definitely could take a little longer. Tongs work really well for flipping them. I don't have any tongs here, so we're just going to go with this fork. It's not the best way to do it. Use tongs if you have them. This is about what you're after here, guys. A nice golden brown. We're just going to scoop those out, let a little bit of the oil drip off them, and I'm going to put them right on a paper towel lined plate. These are beautiful and ready for sauce. Now I like my garlic to be nice and fresh like this. I like the way that works with the chicken fingers. So you can see there's a tiny bit of a sizzle there, but I'm not letting it sizzle too much. If you prefer your garlic to be cooked a little more or to be browned, you can do that in the butter before you add everything else to it, or in the oil before you add everything else to it. But this is the way I like to go. And now we're going to add 3/4 cup of freshly grated Parmesan cheese. You can use Romano, you can use Asiago, you can use a combination, but you want that Italian cheese and you want to get it melting in here. Just like that, folks. I want to try and get you a better view. It is a beautiful thing. And then we are going to take some of our chicken fingers and we are going to toss them right in there and roll them around. I don't have all of the chicken fingers here because I'm eating alone tonight. I'm not even going to do all of these. I wanted at least this many for the pictures. So I put some of them aside because I'll roll those in sauce as I eat them. So right now, for you and I to try together, I'm just going to take one of these little pieces and I'm going to roll it in this sauce. You want to try and get some of the cheese on there. When you throw a whole bunch in there, they roll a little bit better. But here we go. Look at that. So yummy. You can eat these so many ways. You can make sauces to dip them in. You can do a lot of different things with them. And as always, there is a link down below for the blog. The blog post will show you many different serving suggestions. My very favorite way to make them is to make extra sauce and to serve them over linguine. I also like to put some broccoli with that dish when I do it. That's my favorite. But again, check out the blog. There's a lot more information over there. I did get the measurements accurate for the dredging stations and also for this sauce. The only thing that I would change is I would use another egg. I ran a little bit short on egg and I had to do a little bit more up. So I will add another egg into the recipe when I put it up for you on the blog. But for right now, I think it's time for us to take a taste together. These are cooked perfectly. Some of them did get a little too dark because I, let that oil get too hot, but I calmed the oil down and I got these done perfectly. So much flavor. They are fabulous. I'm telling you, a little extra sauce, some broccoli, some linguine, and you have the perfect meal. So I do hope that you're going to make some of these amazing chicken tenders for yourself. They are out of this world. You are never going to go back to store-bought tenders again, I promise you. And as always, I am so glad that you joined me here today. And you and I are going to get together again, and we're going to do it really soon.